Black women, we need to talk because for decades we've been the backbones, the fixers, the ones holding it all together. And we're tired. We're bone tired, but not just sleepy tired. We are structurally exhausted. And that is why we're clocking out. Welcome to the 92% movement. What happens when Black women stop showing up for systems that never showed up for us? That is what we're about to unpack in this 10-part series. If you, as a Black woman, has been feeling like you were over it politically, socially, mentally, emotionally, you are exactly in the right place. Right here is where we get into it. Before we dive in, let me introduce myself. My name is Halleck Hannah. I am the creator and the host of the Hey, It's Halleck podcast. It's the only podcast created specifically for the Black women of the 92% movement. And I created it because it is so important at this crucial moment in time for Black women to tell Black women's stories, because I believe we are on the cusp and on the verge of something amazing as a collective. And if you've been rocking with me for a little while, especially over on TikTok, where we've been having some really important conversations about the Black women of the 92% and the challenges we're facing and the exciting path that we're charting forward, perhaps you know that I grew up in Southern Mississippi. Right, I am a Black girl from Southern Mississippi, Hattiesburg, to be exact. I was born and reared there, and I grew up in a very civically engaged and a very politically active family. Both my parents were attorneys. They were both successful attorneys with their own practices, but my mother went on to become a really, really influential judge. She's retired. Hey, mommy. But because of that, I've always been deeply politically engaged, right? So many people in my family have worked in some way in criminal justice, and I've always understood and been very close to very oppressive systems at every level, municipal, state, and national. I was absolutely brought up to value my education and especially civic duty. I have always been politically engaged. I have voted in every presidential election. And because I'm a bit of a nerd, I closely followed every aspect of every single election. So I know so much about politics and these systems. But one of the things I was never ever taught was that we, as Black women, were allowed to rest, that we didn't have to fight every single battle just because we could. That's why I'm here to help lead and guide and grow the 92% movement, because we are a superpower. Black women have always been a superpower. We have never, ever been treated as such. And now we are changing all that. This is the first of a 10-part series that's going to be breaking down exactly why Black women are choosing rest as a political strategy. Over the next 10 episodes, we are going to explore the history of Black women as the backbone of democracy. We're going to talk about how exhaustion has shaped our political movements in the past and in the present. We're going to talk about what opting out actually looks like out in the world and within our own personal spheres and at home. And we're going to talk about how to build long-term political and social power from a place of rest and not burnout. By the time you finish this series, you're going to have a full understanding of why this movement matters, how it works, and how you can be a part of it. And you're going to love it. So first things first, let's start at the very beginning. What is the 92%? The 92%, that number represents the percentage of Black women that turned out in the 2024 election to vote for democracy and who very quickly thereafter saw that democracy gave us the middle finger. Black women have historically been the most loyal voting bloc in America. You know us, you know how we do. We show up, we organize, we save elections. We are the ones that literally put the entire team on our back and drag people, sometimes kicking and screaming, towards progress. But really, what has that ever gotten us? Thank you, Black women tweets or something like after election. I think all of us can agree that the weight of always saving the day has just become too heavy for us. We are always expected to be the moral compass of this country, but we never get the rewards of real power or policy or any kind of protection. Meanwhile, the people we work for, it's beginning to feel and it's beginning to be evident more and more that they're not working as hard as we are, and they're definitely not doing the work to earn our continued loyalty. So we, the Black women of the 92%, are choosing ourselves, our rest, and our long-term power over short-term political pressure. So why are we clocking out? Y'all, this is not about just one election cycle. This is about a pattern of exhaustion, disappointment, in our own survival. I mean, everybody knows we are always supporting the political party and the political candidate that will do the most for the most. We went all in for Obama. We totally held our breath for Hillary. We pushed Biden and Kamala across the finish line. Even with the progress we've made, somehow we always manage to stay suffering. We're still disproportionately impacted by economic disparity. Don't even get me started talking about healthcare neglect and sometimes just outright political betrayal. And after the 2024 election, we had to ask ourselves, why do we as Black women keep pouring into a cup with holes in the bottom? The really sad thing is, I'm sort of proud of it, and I'm also kind of angry about it. When you think about it, 92%, right? We hit it out of the park. 92% just about anywhere is an A. Okay? More than anyone, more than any other demographic group. Black men were close behind us at like 80 something percent. More than any other group, we did the most. We performed the best, the way we always do. You know what brainiacs we are, you know what Ivy Shines we are. We can be apple polishers. A lot of us are recovering people pleasers, but mostly Black women believe in excellence, okay? And when it comes to this last election, we did the most, we did the best. We organized, we knocked on doors, we gave records amount of money. You know, all of those white men for Kamala, Black men for Kamala, that started with us. It started with Black women for Kamala. We raised record amounts of money. We were the spark. We gave the most. We worked the hardest, and that's provable. That's where the 92% part comes from. It's a provable statistic. And y'all, we did it when it mattered the most. We did it when we had the most information. We did it when the stakes had never been higher for this nation in our lifetime. So I'm saying that, first of all, just to acknowledge it and give ourselves our own pat on the back. You know, we don't really go around tooting our own horn, but that's about to change. BB. We hit it out of the park. We really did. We did the best when it mattered, and we've never gotten credit for that. And because of that, I had to realize, and I feel as though it is my job and it's my duty to share that y'all, us working ourselves to the bone, grinding ourselves into powder for everyone, almost all the time, but especially right now, politically, it hasn't done us any good. Even in us turning out in force, in record numbers, it was not enough to overcome the rampant lack of education, the toxic ignorance, the refusal to understand or process facts or think critically. It just was not enough. And if there's anything Black women know, it's that we understand what the definition of insanity is. We understand that doing the same thing over and over and over is the definition of insanity. And we're not doing that anymore. And I know that this movement is right. I know this is a magic moment. And I know it's going to take us as not only a country, but perhaps as a planet, someplace we've never ever seen before after all of this chaos and insanity is over. Why? Because we all decided to do this. Black women of the 92% decided to do this all together, all at once, all at the same time. Within 48 hours, we were referring to ourselves as a 92% and taking pride in it. It is a movement, even though that movement is moving back from the front of the firing squad. We're moving back from the front lines of other people's ineffectual marches and organizing that always manages to give us the lion's share of the work and absolutely none of the credit for all of these elections where we've barely gotten us over the line. And I know you're feeling vulnerable. I know you're feeling anxious. We've never done this before. We've never said, no. You know what we're doing first is putting our own mental health, our own physical health, our own happiness, our own joy as priority number one. And we're doing it not just because we need the rest, because we do. We do. And we deserve it. We deserve this rest so much. None of the problems the world and this country are facing right now are our fault. I just want to let y'all know that. I'm going to say that in every single video of this 10-part series. None of this is our fault. Absolutely none. So we deserve this rest. This rest is sacred for so many reasons, but we're also doing it because we're not crazy and the way we've been doing it is not working. It's not working. So we're doing something different. This is about not just our restoration and our regeneration. It's not about finally saying, stop taking from us. This is about political and social power and strategy. The 92% movement, this is a soft strike. It's a recalibration. It's quiet. It's not loud. We're not doing that anymore. We're not doing marches. Not going to be no signs, okay? We're not holding candlelight vigils. We may get into some candles, but that's going to be a part of our sleep hygiene and our delicious bath that we take at the end of the evening to get ready to rest our pretty heads. That's what that is. This is a rest and a recharge before we decide where our collective power goes next. So what does the opting out actually look like? And then we're going to get into this more and more and with more specificity with each video that's going to be in the series. But it means redirecting our energy from broken systems to building our own systems and building up our own power. We're going to be investing us. That means us supporting Black women's businesses, Black women's platforms, and movements that absolutely center our joy, our laugh, our creativity, and our well-being. I promise you, I'm not having anything to do with anything that isn't fun and that isn't joyous. I'm 52 years old, and because of my life experience and the resources that I've had, my culture, my upbringing as a Black Southern woman, and also being a beloved wife and mother that lives in very progressive and very homogenous Northern California, I have quite a few perspectives to bring, right? Like I was born and raised in Southern Mississippi, live, love, and work in Northern California. Oh, and also I've been an expat, traveled over 70 countries. I have a lot of perspectives to give, but I will never, ever, ever be involved in anything where I'm responsible to Black women where we don't enjoy ourselves. It doesn't matter how hard the work is, right? It doesn't matter what the challenge it is. Black women, we bring our beauty, we bring our laughter, we bring our unique sense of humor, we bring our energy, our vibe. That's why everybody always wants us around. And that's why they want us at the march, right? Like for the vibes. But I will never do anything that does not center the joy, the happiness, and the laughter of Black women. And here is the key part, and the thing I'm going to keep reiterating over and over again. Rest is not giving up. Rest for us, for Black women, is a revolutionary act. For other people, for white women, for white men, rest, yeah, them taking it easy, putting themselves first, yeah, that ain't nothing new at all. The system was set up around them, their rest, their leisure, their ease. So for us, rest, leisure, ease, laughter, that is a revolutionary act. So I want you to think about it that way. It's not doing nothing. It's about doing something, perhaps the most important something for ourselves for the first time in history ever. And by the time the next cycle comes around, Black women of the 92%, we will not be begging for scraps. We'll be coming with our demands. And I feel pretty sure they're going to be met. And y'all, this is just episode 1. Over the next 10 episodes, we're going to break down exactly how we got here, what rest is revolution looks like in action, and how we can make sure that this movement isn't just a moment, it is a transformation. So here's what's next. Here's what I need you to do. First of all, subscribe to this channel. This is just the beginning of this series, and I'm going to break all of this down. And I really want you to join our Substack community. There's a link in the description. This is where we have more real and one-on-one conversations, interaction. It's where I'm going to be dropping exclusive videos. And I love Substack for so many reasons. I also recommend that you get over there. There's so many beautiful, intellectual, entertaining, and just gorgeous, artistic, creative Black women over there. And I want you to be tapped in so you don't miss anything. I refer to the Hey, It's Halaku community over on Substack as our permanent home. And hey, say you're not a part of the 92%. Say you're a part of some other demographic, but you believe in us. You value us. You value our rest. Please become a paid subscriber to the Substack community. That is a way you can actually give to Black women instead of extracting from us and taking from us. And in doing that, you support our movement. So if you've ever felt, how do I help? I want to support, but I don't necessarily need to be in or to try to center myself in that space, give. Give to Black women, give your money and give your resources. You will never go wrong doing that. The 92% movement, this is how we as Black women, we're going to be regenerating. We're going to be building. We're going to be growing. We're going to be learning so that we come back stronger than ever. We're not disappearing. We're Black women. We can never do that. We are the culture. We are the blueprint. We're not disappearing. What we're doing is finally choosing ourselves. I am here. The Hey Italic You podcast is here. The Hey Italic You YouTube channel and our Substack community are here to make sure that every single week you feel supported as you keep choosing yourself and we keep choosing ourselves over and over and over again. And that is real power.